Hello, I'm Pro-A007, and this is a speedrun of Syphon Filter, any percent, with an estimated time of completion of 1 hour, 10 minutes. This is for AGDQ 2023. Over the course of this speedrun, I will explain the game's history, its many strats, some of its interesting quirks, as well as a general rundown of how the game operates, and some of the things I'll be looking out for, and some of the things I will try and avoid throughout this run. Alright, so time starts when I hit new game, so 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so Syphon Filter was released in 1999 for the PlayStation and received very good reviews upon release and was quite popular with the public, selling over 1 million copies. Developer AGDQ, now Sony Bend, did a really good job bouncing back from their first effort in the game development business, which was the infamous and rightly maligned Bubsy 3D, which is generally considered one of the worst games of all time. So for their sophomore effort, the developers, when they decided to make an action spy game, were clearly inspired by two games in particular, I think, and the developers have clearly stated that Tomb Raider was the main inspiration, at least in the way that how the game operated in terms of physics and in terms of how Gabe Logan, the protagonist, interacts with objects, and has pretty good field of movement. The second inspiration is, of course, GoldenEye, because this is a spy game. But this game is a little more rough and tumble compared to GoldenEye, and Gabe is able to do more physically. He can roll, he can crouch, he can, climb on things. He interacts with objects all the time. It's a very different kind of movement than what you would see in GoldenEye. And even Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid doesn't move as freely as Gabe Logan does. So this first mission here is really designed to get you acclimated to the controls and all the things Gabe can and can't do, and show you some of the objectives you'll be doing, kinds of objectives you'll be doing throughout. Now, one thing you may have noticed in the bank, and also when I activated that switch to take the elevator down, is an interaction skip where Gabe is going to shoot and interact with an object at the same time. And this creates an animation skip that saves about 2 seconds. And it is something I'm going to be trying to do throughout the game as much as possible. But it is a very tight window. It's about 1 to 2 frames, but it's well worth it to get, because I'll be doing it at least 50 times in this run. All told, it saves about 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Beacon set.
Now there were 2 interaction skips in a row there of similar but very different types that are cousin to the main interaction skip. The first is when Gabe is climbing up on something. When Gabe presses his foot down, I aim like this to basically cut down on the animation of Gabe climbing, and that saves about 1/2 second. The other one is when Gabe was interacting with that bomb there to plant the tracker. I did a crouch walk, and basically, so it looks kind of weird, but it saves about 1 second, because normally Gabe would drop to one knee and then plant the tracker, whereas this is one fluid movement. So it allows Gabe to basically cut down on some of the movement there.
Gabe, what's happening?
So the main interaction skip and the bomb interaction skip are things you can do in Syphon Filters 2 and 3. Unfortunately, the climbing skip was removed.
Gabe,
in SF2 and 3, which is a disappointment, particularly in 2, because there's a lot of climbing in 2. So that opening mission went quite well, and now I did one of a few fire skips in the game, which is essentially a damage boost, but it saves about 25 to 30 seconds, I'd say, and, you know, obviously I took a lot of damage, my armor is pretty much gone, but luckily the guards in the opening 5 missions here, with a few exceptions, have stormtrooper aim, so I'm not too worried about taking damage. You see me as Gabe was climbing up that wreckage, how fast Gabe climbs there with the interaction skip as he's climbing, and that really does save a lot of time.
Leon, I found the gas main. I'm shutting it down.
There are missions like the Farcom Expo Center where that is really going to come in handy. It's going to save a ton of time. So, yeah, the gas main interaction skip is pretty tight, and I just missed the one on the door there. So, you know, even as long as I've played this game as a speedrunner, which is almost 5 years now, some of these interaction skips, they can run hot and cold at times. So you just kind of got to run with it and do the best you can. My conversion rate is usually about 70 to 75% for those. Some of them, like the gas mains, are really tight because you don't have a lot of room to move. So you have to be pretty careful. Now, the one thing to note with the climbing interaction skip is if I do it too early, Gabe is going to do the long, slow climbs. So you do have to be careful.
I've spotted Mara
About accidentally canceling it. So a good second mission. Now this mission with Mara, I'm going to do a quick U-turn and try to get a quick headshot before she runs. Okay, just got her as she was about to start running. There is an easy backup. I would have rolled under the divider there and taken her out that way, but it's about an extra 5 seconds. So a good quick 23 seconds there.
Leon, I'm on my way to the park.
Now this mission here is where a lot of early runs go to die, unfortunately. The first half of this mission involves Gabe protecting CBDC agents as they defuse 4 bombs. And how quickly these bombs are defused are tied into how many guards you take out, and each bomb has a different number. This first bomb here is by far the easiest. Only 1 is required to be taken out. And hopefully I get the guard on the left here. There's a spawn. There he is. And there he goes. Easy. The second bomb is not so easy, because I am basically protecting this guard from being attacked in just about every possible direction. It's almost 360 degrees. So, you know, the guard spawns can be quite nasty, so you just kind of have to run with it and, you know, do your best. Where I'm going to be positioned gives me pretty close to freedom, but even there are some nasty spots that I'll have to watch out for. So you see the so I'm going to position myself here, and we'll hope for the best. I took out 5 guards. So yeah, these are RNG dependent, the spawns. I took out 6 there. But that was more of a matter of circumstance than anything, just to hedge my bets a little bit. But yeah, the first bomb pattern is pretty much the same always. Sometimes the guard that I took out doesn't immediately spawn, so I have to deal with the guards in front of me. But generally speaking, I don't have to worry too much. Bomb 2 is by far the most unpredictable. 3 and 4 have some different setups, and I'm gonna hope for this guard to spawn in the corner here. He does not, so That's not a deal breaker. So that's 3 guards, so I should be all set here. But I'm gonna stand right around here and wait. So if I go too far, the game will automatically flag me for failing, because you're basically going away from the field where the CBDC agent could be reasonably protected.
They're on their way.
So here it's 3 guards as well, and I'm probably going to end up taking out 4. Okay, so that should be enough. There it is. Alright, so it's just a hair over 10 minutes. Not the best, not the worst. Ideally, it'd be around like 9:55 or so. But that second bomb was pretty slow. So that kind of cut down on my time there. But not a big thing. I'm going to take out that guard as a safety. And then this guard here I have to take out without... alerting, out-alerting him, so that's why I took out the first guard. That's the first stealth portion of the game, I suppose. Normally you do it with a sniper rifle, but 9mm works just as well here. So I'm going to just sidestep these guards here.
I'm getting interference. You must be right on top
And plant the and handle the data link here.
Check.
So I gotta get a good roll off the edge there. That's pretty tricky. If I missed, I could have ended up dying. Because Gabe can't fall too far, otherwise it's an automatic death. One of the more irritating parts of this game, I suppose. But that worked pretty well. So I took out Marcos. Now it's on to the end of the mission, and Anton Gardu, who is really the first main boss of the game. He's pretty easy, and there's a pretty easy setup that I can do consistently. But he is armed with a flamethrower, so you do have to be careful. Now, if this were hard mode, I would have had to take out a couple of guards before going through.
Their team moving.
Hurry, Gabe. You don't have much time.
But again, since these guards have pretty terrible aim, I don't have to worry too much. Yeah, it was about a 5:17. That's not great. That second bomb really did slow me down.
Anton Gardu.
So
Romer's paying you enough to.
You basically have to hit the fuel tank on Gardu's back here, and it's 3 shotgun blasts at close range. You just gotta be good with the timing, because if you shoot too early, his iframes will still be going. So you can't do it like 3 in a row, like bam, bam, bam. You gotta wait for the danger meter to turn back on before you can shoot him again.
We've analyzed blood taken from Romer's men. It contains...
Now this is the first forced stealth section of the game. It also has the Fagan Skip, where I'm going to try and get ahead of Fagan here as he's going to go meet with his unknown associates. And what I'm going to do is slip past him. And how I'm going to do this, I'm going to take out this guard here. Okay. Now I'm going to go the other way into the Stonehenge exhibit and get ahead of him without him seeing me. You got to be quick. You cannot dawdle here, because if you go too fast, if you don't go fast enough, Fagan will see you. So I'm going to slip past that guard there, just doing a bunch of crouch rolls. So now I'm free and clear, so I just got to take out 3 more guards here. 1. Okay. So, alright, so I got into the exhibit here.
What are you doing here?
Ahead of Fagan, even though now Fagan's somehow ahead of me, but whatever. So now this is another mini-boss where you take out Benton, your traitorous boss from the agency, who's working with the terrorists in this case. You gotta be... The setup I use for Benton is pretty tight. Basically, I get up against the wall and then do kind of a strafe aim to snipe him with the HK5. If I miss, or if he runs early, that section gets to be pretty dangerous all of a sudden, because Benton is very dangerous. He runs around and he's very accurate. So you really do not want to be screwing around there. Alright, so I took out the guard in the window here. Now I'm gonna take out this guard here who's kind of running around. So I burned a lot of ammo there. I thought he was gonna make it there sooner than I thought he would. So I used the G18 to take him out. Now I'm gonna climb up this temple to get to the door switch, because that guard that I took out had the key card for it, so I can move on to the next section. Yeah. Unfortunately, did not get the interaction skip. Sometimes it's actually easier to do it when you have no ammo. I don't know why, but it is. Fortunately, I was a little off my timing there. So this guard, I'm gonna take him out. Take out the guy in the window. So the door, the keypads can be surprisingly finicky when it comes to the interaction skip. I can have moments where I can get like 8 or 9 in a row, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're just a little off to the left, and all of a sudden you're missing like 3 or 4 in a row. So it's a funny thing. So here I'm just gonna clean out these guards with the G18, which is the probably I'd say the 3rd best gun in the game. It is the highest fire rate by far. So in some of these cases, particularly if the guards have flak jackets, you can spam this gun and just cut through a lot of guards with little trouble. The only guns that are better are the Biz 2 and the K3G4. The K3G4 I'll be picking up in a minute here, because I'm going to be using that almost exclusively in the next mission. As you're coming down the elevator, you got to watch out for the 2 guards, particularly the one on the ground level, because if he's actually aiming at me and my danger meter is going off as I'm getting off the elevator, I got to take him out, because otherwise he's going to cut me down. So it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes you don't take the chance. Okay, so no guard in the window here, which means there's going to be 3 guards on the catwalk. I prefer having 1 guard by the window and 2 guards on the catwalk. Much easier to handle. Yep, 3 guards, yep. Alright, that was a little dicey, but I knew he was in front of me. He was going to be near where I was going to climb off, so I wasn't too worried. Normally it's just 2, and then I just run off and just do a straight front to the left. A calculated risk, but one I was confident in. Alright, this next mission is going to introduce the shimmy skip,
The entrance to the dinosaur.
which is actually one of the more recent discoveries, the last couple of years. Baron Haynes, who was one of the OG speedrunners of this game, he found this shimmy skip where, as Gabe is shimmying across, you can do an interaction skip with this as well. And this is a nice, you know, like that. You see, like Gabe moves much faster. If I'm basically, as Gabe is moving his hand, as it plants on to the right or the left, you can do a little bit of an interaction skip. It's kind of finicky though. It's actually much more consistent in Syphon Filter 2. Alright, so that guard with the shotgun there, he almost always spawns in that spot, so it's an easy kill, but sometimes it can be difficult and you have to kind of run around a little bit. Now these guards up here, this is all RNG, how they appear, and the main thing is you do not want to touch either of those guards if you can help it, because if you do, they stop moving and they'll keep shooting at you from where they are, and that can really cause some problems.
Tell me where the virus labs are.
So,
I don't know.
Tell me, or I will kill you.
I can't.
that is the first and last use of the taser.
Yes.
The game got some notoriety for its air taser, because you could basically fry enemies with it. In the speedrun of Syphon Filter, that is the only time we use it. Now I'm gonna actually shoot Mara here.
Gabe,
as
Needed Mara
as
alive.
the scene ends, because this is going to just speed it up a little bit. Otherwise, you'd have to listen to all this dialogue, and that costs about 6 seconds.
I've discovered why every mission in this investigation has been compromised.
Now, this mission, you're encouraged to do it stealthily, but we're going to do a kind of a variation on this. I'm going to try and stay stealth all the way up to Gabrick, who is the sort of the base commander and has a key card I need.
I found a fuel tank.
That's the hope, anyways.
I've planted the first explosive.
There are 2 viable routes here when it comes to this mission. The preferred way is to do what I'm doing here, where I'm stealth all the way up until Gabrick, or I'm going to try to, but there's going to be a guard pattern here that, you know, generally will trip the alarm anyways, but this is definitely faster doing it this way. Should the alarm get tripped early, it doesn't really change very much. The only thing I would have done differently is I passed a combat shotgun crate. I would have picked that up. Mostly as to hedge my bets a little bit, because the combat shotgun one-hit kills all the guards. It's looking good. Yeah.
Damn it!
That guard there, he always screws it up by the fence. So, Gabrick. Yeah. There's not a when the shotgun guards want you, they got you. Unfortunately, you know, there's not a lot I can do there. It's unfortunate. That's about a 10 or 15 second mistake, but it's something, you know, you kind of have to roll with. If you're lucky, it doesn't cost you too much time and you can proceed as normal. The important thing, and maybe the death was kind of a blessing in disguise, is I got the combat shotgun. So I'm going to be using that on these guards here after I plant the last explosive.
Power to the motion sensors. I'm heading over to the bunkers now.
The reason for this is twofold. Again, one, because it's a one-hit kill on these guards.
I'll trigger the timer once I'm on the roof and have disabled their radar.
Copy.
But it also will help me farm some PK-102 ammo, which is going to be very important in the next mission. So, ideally, you'd like to have you pick up 2 shotguns, so that'll give me 10 shells to work with. But again, this isn't too bad. Alright, so yeah, just ignore those guards. I'm gonna ignore these guards who are gonna spawn up ahead here. And just go straight on to the next mission. So I took a little bit of damage. So I'm probably going to pick up the flak jacket at the start of this next mission here. And hopefully I take no damage, because that'll make the 9th mission, or actually the 10th mission, excuse me, the second boss fight go about 5 seconds faster. But, so the interaction skip gets a lot of play here. And ammo preservation is also going to play a role here.
Gabe, check your fire. Damaging that missile could set
So yeah, so you see I'm going to try and do the interaction skip on these SS-23 missiles and these door switches, and they can be kind of finicky at times, so you really, you know, kind of have to just do the best you can. So I'm going to... So I'm doing short bursts on the door switches. Because again, I want to keep as much ammo as I can, because that'll help in the final section of this mission. I'm gonna actually switch to the shotgun here. So these missiles are on timers, so I can just do them at at a somewhat leisurely pace. Okay, got that last one with the interaction skip. That's good. Now you may have noticed the target button, which is designed to improve your accuracy. You know, otherwise Gabe is just, you know, firing from the hip, and there's really... Ooh. That's unfortunate. That guard doesn't show up very often, so I'm gonna have to pick up the blackjack at the start of the next mission. That's not what I wanted, but, you know, sometimes the game cares not what you want. And unfortunately, I'm getting cut in pieces here, so... Man, I broke 3. Oh,
I've got the last code.
okay, I got
I'm
that,
trying
but
to find a way up to the radar tower
yeah,
on the roof.
that was
Get ready to
not
move
a very good section, unfortunately. Alright, so I just burned through all my PK ammo. That's not good.
Leon, I found the elevator.
Alright,
Get
on my
ready
way to the
stop.
roof.
Gabe, the force is
So this second boss fight, the chopper, is can be daunting, but there is a way to sort of set it up so you can get a pretty consistent pattern each time. And where the chopper spawns is random. It's one of 2 locations.
Leon, right.
But and either one works for me. I don't care really which one it is. I'm just gonna skip that. All right, so I'm gonna use the target button here to more accurately damage the chopper. So, and crouching actually improves your accuracy. So it was a nice bit of accuracy, I think. You know, running around and shooting is not going to make you accurate, but crouching and shooting will. It's a nice bit of attention to detail. But anyway, with that chopper fight, what I was trying to achieve is get the chopper to start billowing smoke as it flew away and disappeared, and then for the second cycle, get behind the wall and just blast the chopper to oblivion before it could pass over. And if you don't do enough damage on the first cycle, you're not going to finish it off on the second. Now we come to the fire truck skip, which is the most dangerous skip in the entire game. But it saves about 20 seconds, so I'll hopefully do this the first try. Got it, good. So what I did there is a side roll off of a specific pixel aiming at a specific spot on the wall there, and when I did the side roll, I landed on that fiery inferno in a spot where Gabe can't take damage, or can't be damaged. And then I did a crouch roll to get over, and it was a damage boost. And then another roll to get off, and there it is. That saves about 20 seconds. Otherwise, this mission takes about 1:25.
My God.
So,
Syphon.
but if you screw it up, it's like a 30-second time loss. So,
one more thing.
easily the most dangerous skip in the game. And no guarantee, because if you don't do the side roll correctly, you will lose you will miss and you will be dead. There's no second try there. Okay. So this mission
I found the first group of
and the one following it are about 2 things: saving the test subjects, shown here, and taking out these scientists. Now this always, I know for casual players, like, oh, these missions. Now, the good news is there is no RNG as to where these scientists and test subjects appear. They will always be the same. Now that said, making a mistake here can be really bad. It can cost you up to 2 minutes. And I'm using that syringe as a kind of interaction skip, but with the test subjects, it's kind of, again, finicky. That's a common adjective to describe this game at times, because the game will do kind of its own thing at times. So you just kind of have to deal with it as best you can. And work it out as best you can. So I got gas grenades here, and these will be useful in this spot and later on in the next mission. So I'm going to take out 3 for 1 here. You got to be careful with these gas grenades. If you accidentally run into that gas path, you're dead. Okay, I played it a little safe there just to make sure I got the key card off that center scientist without running into the gas fumes. Because again, I would have actually had to start over if that had happened. So the checkpoints are predicated largely on the key cards you pick up and the objectives you complete. So I'm going to take out this guard here. I don't want to be taking a ton of damage while I'm taking out this scientist and through the window here. This is kind of a weird. Okay, that was actually too weird thing. It was an interesting thing there. That guard was actually running clockwise. He almost always runs counterclockwise. So I wasn't quite expecting that, but it worked out. Yeah, and I also got the damage I took. So yeah, you can see Gabe is kind of lifting his arm as if giving the test subject a blessing, and that's a slower interaction skip than just doing it. He just injects him, moving on. Okay, so about 2/3 of the way done with this mission. This is the library here. I'm gonna actually hope the guards see me because this will help with my guard spawns. Okay, good. I see. Now that wasn't actually exactly intended, but you can see how much slower it is for Gabe to climb. And until that climb skip was actually discovered, that section there could actually be dangerous. Because as Gabe is climbing up slowly, he's got a decent chance of losing a pretty good chunk of his body armor. So, yeah, much faster this way. Now, I ignored the other guards for this reason, because the game can only take so many sprites, enemy sprites on screen, before guards start getting canceled out. And that can be advantageous in spots. It will especially be used in the catacombs when I'm escorting Fagan and Leon out. But in that case, because I only had to deal with the one guard on the walkway there. If I had to deal with other guards, they would have come at me through the windows, and I would have taken a pretty decent amount of damage. It would have slowed me down. I'm just taking out these guards along the way here, dropping chandeliers on them, So that's the last scientist. Okay, so just 2 guards here. I'm just gonna slip past them altogether. One thing that SF1 does that the other don't is weapon cycling is much slower in this game, so you have to take care of what weapon you're using when, because it takes Gabe about 1.5 seconds to swap out weapons. There are ways to mitigate it. Like, for example, if I was rolling off that ledge there and I was switching weapons, it would be a much faster weapon cycle, but that rarely comes up, and you're mostly doing it on the fly.
I'm finding Farcom. Right.
Okay, so this mission is essentially a rerun of the last one. The test subjects will be over about halfway through this mission, and then there are going to be more scientists to take out along the way. I'm going to lure this one scientist out by basically just emptying a magazine. And as I'm rounding the corner, I should see a blue dot appear, and that'll be the scientist. And yep, there he is. So I will deal with him later. Right now, I have a couple of test subjects and scientists to take out here. Okay, sometimes there's a guard here at the top of the railing, not this time. He has a G18, which is nice to have. Now, some of these scientists are indeed armed, and they are actually pretty accurate, so, you know, shades of Gordon Freeman from Half-Life, you know, a scientist is deadly with a gun, but, and there's no RNG to that. You know which ones do and don't. So, I'm gonna use a gas grenade here, and I'm in a second here as to get a spawning scientist. So I'm just gonna throw it here, and as I'm coming down this ramp, he is going to appear, and he will walk right into my trap. Perfect. That flak jacket didn't pop up for me. Not a big thing. So this is the last test subject. The rest, it's gonna be scientists the rest of the way. So I'm gonna bypass some of these guards here and just ignore them and deal with this one guard here. And again, this is part of the, this is gonna help me, tilt the situation in my favor up ahead. Because I only have to deal with one guard now, on this, walkway that I'm gonna be, going across. Otherwise it'd have been like 2 or 3. So. Be a scientist here. Where's the key card? Looks like a good draw. He runs around in circles, so ideally you get him at the back or at the front, but it's more common he's going to be in the back. But so long as he's basically in your crosshairs, as you finish climbing up the ramp, you're fine. Use 45 here. 45 is one of the more powerful guns in the game, but it has a slower fire rate, so you don't use it very often. So you saw that kind of weapon cycling where I switched to the PK-102 as I was going off the ledge there, and it cut down on the weapon cycle time. So I'm going to ignore this scientist who's going to run past. Because I touched him, he stops moving. Very nice of him. This guard has the scientist has the key card. Take him out, and then just 2 more to go. These 2 guards have G18s. I'll be using that quite a bit in the missions to come. The mission to come, but for the moment, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna use it here on the scientist who should be, so he usually comes straight ahead. Once in a while, he'll actually come up behind me, and that can be kind of scary because he's behind me and he's usually pretty close. So the 45 he's carrying is going to do quite a bit of damage. Just gonna let this notification pass, and then I'm gonna go straight across, and there we go. All right, so now we gotta kind of work our way around and get into the Rose Chapel at the bottom to get into the catacombs. Unfortunately, you cannot climb down and skip it that way for 2 reasons. One, you'll die no matter what you do, and 2, the scientist is kind of in a weird location near the back here. There was some experimenting done to see if there was a way to sort of bypass this, but we've determined that no, we can't. And even if we could, it doesn't really lead to a time save, because where the scientist is located is about halfway, like meeting in the middle, if you will, so it doesn't work. So I'm going to switch to the 9mm here and set up for the catacombs, which has the second forced stealth section up ahead. And unlike the first one, there's no way I can make this go faster. And yet you can take damage as the screen fades to black. And yes, you can die that way, so you just gotta be a little careful there, but I didn't take enough damage for it to matter.
Security has been breached. Roma has ordered the...
Now I'm just gonna let this cutscene play through.
All of Romer's underground security is palm print activated. You must follow the guard and let him open the cell. If you are seen, you won't be able to get in.
Have an evac standing by.
Because he's
won't be long.
moving on a predetermined path anyways, so... You know, this actually cuts down to the amount of time I have to spend watching him go through his conceited paces. So I'll be taking out guards as I'm following the scientist to Fagan's cell. Now when gamers talk about the catacombs, it's usually with scorn and derision, and rightly so. This is a rather tedious mission, mostly for the middle section with Fagan. This part here is pretty straightforward. You just kind of work your way around, bypass the guards, and don't alert them. But this is pretty easy. This guard I'm about to deal with is the only trouble spot because he kind of seems to be moving on uneven territory sometimes, terrain sometimes. So it is possible to miss by mistake. But otherwise, this is pretty easy. It always goes about 2 minutes and 25 seconds, give or take. And there's really nothing I can do to make it, again, go faster or slower. So there will be a guard here as he's rounding the bend. I'm going to try and trick the camera so I can get a view on him. And wow, he didn't show. Now, I don't know why that is, why that guard doesn't appear. 90% of the time he does. But sometimes he was apparently on vacation or something. So, which is fine with me, you know, saves a little bit of time. But it's not something I rely on. Now, Fagan is irritating because he stops and starts, and you know, he can be a real pain. There are like so many rules to not do with Fagan. Like, don't touch him. You know, it's like dealing with a zoo exhibit sometimes. Like, don't touch him. Don't, you know, get anywhere near him. You know, if I'm shooting at guards, I need to be in aim mode so he doesn't stop because he thinks I'm going to try and kill him. And I thought I got a headshot there, but okay. So that guard, normally that's actually not a good pattern, but okay, fine. Normally I wanted the other guard on the left to do the kind of that sidle to the left, so I could have actually bypassed this section altogether, but alright, fine. So I'm actually going to ignore these two guards. Yeah, that's the only checkpoint you get with Fagan. Oh, I almost killed him by mistake. That would have been really bad. So, but that actually worked out. So normally there are two guards here spawning at the bottom. But because I ignored the two before we went into the open area, no guards appeared at all. So that actually probably got me my time back. Now that was a little slow on my part, but I just wanted to get rid of him. So yeah, but the main thing is aim and shoot. Do not fire from the hip, because Fagan will stop and just kind of sit there for a few seconds. And the guards themselves are all predetermined as to where they are, so you can manipulate the RNG in your favor and their spawn points to make things a little easier for yourself. And the G18 really comes in handy here because of its high fire rate. So that's why I picked it up before I went and got Fagan. And a couple of these guards actually carry the G18, which makes it even easier. So that was actually a pretty good Fagan. That was about 230, 240 or
That's
so.
yourself. You're on your own now.
You can do it as fast as like 210 based on the tasks, but there are some things you would never do in a speed run.
Watch it!
All right, so why I did that, and no, I am being deliberately cruel, but the reason for this is if you wound Leon, she will just run through this section, and you know, all I have to do is basically follow her and, you know, clear out any troublesome guards along the way, which is why I picked up the K3G4. You can do it without, but it's a good safety for a marathon speed run, because the K3G4 cuts through flak jackets, so I don't have to rely on headshots to get rid of these guys.
Got him!
And if I take out these guys with the K3G4, I'll pick up some quick flak jackets, so I can kind of damage boost my way through a few sections. Like that guard. So I picked up a... So I'm actually going to switch to the G18 for the final section here. So the guards here are kind of in a state of confusion. They don't know whether to shoot at me or shoot at her, so you can take advantage of that situation, because, you know, even when the danger meter sometimes goes red, they're not going to actually hit you. It's all... So any guards I take out are really just to kind of clear my path, so I don't have to worry about them too much. So I'm just going to ignore these guards here at the end, and we are out of here.
There's someone up ahead.
That was actually a really, really good catacombs.
Please.
It's not gold split, but beat my PB time by 17 seconds, so that's pretty solid. So home stretch here. 6 missions to go.
Check.
Now this first mission with the warehouse is the most has got some of the most RNG heavy stuff going on with the guard spawns, because the blue guards are Romer's men, the white guards are Fagan's men, and in the open field they can spawn in random spots here in this mission, so you got to be careful. And the weapons they carry are also random, so ideally you want to mix PK-102 and combat shotgun, because you're going to need a little of both. PK-102 is the preferred weapon, obviously, but combat shotgun has its uses as well.
Right.
And until the very end, none of these guards are carrying flak jackets, so I don't have to worry too much about headshotting them. But after this mission, I will. So this is like the last, like, you know, easy mission, if you will. Missed the interaction skip twice. I picked up the flak jacket. It's primarily a safety, because I will be taking some damage, very likely up ahead. These viral carriers I have to tag. Normally you're supposed to you need a viral scanner to find out where they are. But there's no RNG to where they are located, so we don't need that. We can just plant the viral scanner, scanners tags, and we're on our way. And I'll be doing that in this mission and the next one. So, okay, so we got 2 guards here. I'm gonna hope... Oh, that's not good. And I don't have any shotgun ammo, so that's gonna make this next section kind of interesting. Yeah, there's some fuel tanks there I'd have used to take out some guards. But unfortunately, they prematurely ignited them, so... Yep, see? That's not good. That's pretty bad, unfortunately. So that was an unfortunate setback. This mission can really kill runs because of like little things like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do that again, unfortunately. So yeah, that's like a 30-second setback, maybe more. Like I said, checkpoints are not very plentiful in this game. Okay, this time they didn't ignite, so that's good. But I need this K3G4 because it's going to be very useful for the rest of this game. Okay. So I'm gonna throw the reason I picked up the grenades is these will actually also be very useful in the next few missions, and I'm gonna use a couple. I'm gonna use 3 of them here. One is to get these guards to disperse. So they instead of shooting at me, they're going to be shooting at each other. Because I got them to disperse. Otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't have made it across. So I'm going to just slide past these guards here, I'm going to blow up this door, and then I'm going to throw a grenade in the corner here because it's a guard spawn point. And these guards actually have flak jackets. Okay, one of them did spawn, and yeah, there he throws the grenade. Yeah, the combat shotgun really kicks in this game. You know, luckily, I shouldn't have to worry too much about any guards hitting me the rest of this mission. But yeah, ideally, what would have happened is I throw the grenade in the corner. Those 3 guards spawn and try to ambush me, and I take them out. Sometimes one slips through, like in that case, but it's not a deal breaker. So it didn't really slow me down. So there are gonna be 2 guards coming up here, and okay, they're running. That's what I like to see. If they stop it, if they come and stop, you know, to shoot at me, that's not good. That costs me time because I have to deal with them first. And then but in this case I just slip past them and I slip past Romer's men. And that's the end of the mission. So yeah, that unfortunate death in the tunnel did hurt, but still well within the estimate.
Leon,
now,
I found shipping
from
benefits
this
for parts
point
depot.
on, every guard I encounter will be wearing a flak jacket.
Leon,
Which means I either headshot them or I spam the K3G4 or another weapon and just wear down their body armor. So yeah, if you were playing this casually, if you haven't mastered the headshot by now, you're in a lot of trouble. Because these next 5 missions are very difficult if you don't know how to headshot. So I'm going to do a loop around towards the first viral carrier, and there should be a guard with a Biz 2 coming after me. Yep, there he is. We call him Biz Quick. And okay, there's a grenade guard by the fence there. That's unusual, but it's not unwelcome, certainly. So I'm just gonna roll like crazy to get to this window here. The Biz 2 is very powerful. It's the second best gun in the game because it has a 66 round magazine and it has the power of a 45. So you can, and I will be spamming it throughout the final few missions when I'm not using the K3G4. So I'm gonna, that grenade guard here, I'm gonna finally have him work to my advantage.
That's
What I did there is I had him throw the grenade down the ramp and basically ambush the two guards that were gonna try and get me as I was planning the last viral carrier. Alright, so from here it's pretty much a straight shot, and I'm gonna use the K3G4 for the first time here to basically get through these first few guards as I'm going around this corner. And then I'm going to switch to the PK-102 for the final stretch of 5 guards here. And the reason I could have used the, oh, it's only 4, excuse me. The reason I don't use the K3G4, you know, en masse is because you can only pick these up in crates, and there are no other optimal spots where I can pick this gun up.
The entrance to the silo is in there somewhere.
So it's absolutely paramount that I use this weapon as wisely as I possible through the next few missions. So Warehouse 76 has 2 fire skips I'm going to be taking advantage of. There is a third,
Leon.
but it's almost task precision, so we're not going to go for that in a marathon run. It's very tight, and I'm taking plenty of damage as it is. So that's the first one. Normally you're supposed to shimmy around to get to this spot. We don't got time for that, and that triggers the only checkpoint. The only mission objective here is to get to the elevator that leads down into the silo tunnels, so... Now, you could ignore that guard, but I took a lot of damage, so I'm going to pick up his flak jacket. There's going to be another guard in a minute here that I'm going to pick up his flak jacket as well. So that'll give me enough armor for the second fire skip, where I'm going to roll through a spot in the flames to get to the elevator rather than doing this whole loop around like the game wants you to do. Okay. See, I'm going to roll through this opening here and get into the get on the elevator. You gotta be careful though when you're doing this, because
Still no contact.
if
We're finally starting to
the elevator
realize
automatically moves with or without your intervention, and if I did it at the wrong time, the elevator is moving, the camera angle can get skewed, and you can actually soft lock the game. So I played it pretty safe there. So 3 to go, home stretch. This mission isn't especially difficult, but with only 1 checkpoint, you know, mistakes are not tolerated, especially in this opening section and near toward the first checkpoint. So we use a K3G4 here. So I actually did a little bit of a sequence break there where I climbed the ledge. Normally you're supposed to get a message from Leon about those lasers, and it's called the Mara skip because you know, it's intel from Mara Aramov about those lasers, so not a particularly memorable one game, I admit, but it seems appropriate. So here I'm just going to spam the Biz 2 and take out these guards with the that are running away from me. Now there's going to be a guard here with a grenade who's going to try to ambush me, but I'm just going to use the climb skip to get around them. That's a pretty easy and consistent setup. So now we're coming to an interesting little sequence break where I have to press this switch to bring back power to the elevator. Now if you actually press it, guards will spawn, but if you shoot or blow up the switch, no guards will appear. So I'm going to use a grenade here to do that for me. I don't know if that was close enough. Okay, it was. It's hard to tell sometimes because the lighting in this game can be problematic in spots. But yeah, no guards, so this saves about 40 seconds of not having to, you know, get into a gunfight with these guys. So, and now I've got 9 guards to take out between here and the final objective, which is to restore power to the silo elevator, or to cut power to the laser so I can get to the silo elevator at the end here. So I'm gonna ignore. Okay, I took a lot of damage there. I was hoping to get through that damage list, but no such luck in this case. So the last 3 guards up ahead, normally I would ignore them, but in this case I'm just going to take them down to get their flak jackets. Just to be on the safe side. So yeah, there'll be 3 of them, and they're all pretty consistent in how they... Yeah, they're all doing like that crouched walk, and it's pretty easy to line up a shot on them.
I've made it into the power room.
Be careful with these lasers, incidentally. If you touch them, you're dead. So, and that has happened to me. Going to that first control panel, I sometimes overshoot the mark and end up touching the lasers, like, whoop, dead. Sorry, try again. Alright, 2 to go. Now, this next mission is basically pitch black for almost the whole entirety of it. But luckily, the guards, with one exception, are all easy to spot, and all I have to do is just basically follow the path. So it's pretty easy. So I'm using the K3G4 here. Okay, so I had a little trouble. I took out those 2 guards with the K3G4 to get my armor back and to kind of set the tone. Because they're right on top of each other. The others are pretty spread out, so I don't have to worry about them running on top of me. So yeah, the guards here are all, their locations are all pretty determined, so it's simply a question of just dealing with them. You gotta be very careful here. Is this next section, like if I'm too close to if I go over the edge, that's an automatic death. There we go. Yeah. I'm gonna just play it safe here. I could have backed up and then just kind of walked off the ledge and then grabbed it that way, but this is a little safer. Because again, you only get 1 checkpoint, and it's at the very beginning of this mission. You don't have to take out that guard incidentally, but sometimes he will actually, because he can't technically see you, but your danger meter will be going off as if he does. But I've had cases where he actually does shoot you, so, and he's armed with a biz, so I'm not in the mood to deal with him right now. Now this next section here is what we call the Yolo Strat, where basically I would be running through this entire section, you know, and just going, ignoring the guards, and then spamming the K3G4 at the end here to take out some guards at the end and get through. But it is RNG dependent. So I'm, again, playing it kind of safe here. Just not really in dealing with these guys. Okay, that wasn't ideal, but it worked. Yeah. The Yolo Strat saves about
Leon,
20 seconds, but if you miss, it's a 2-minute time loss, minimum. So, that one I'm not happy about going for the safe strat, but you know, I'm not even close to PB levels either. And the success rate on Yolo is not even 50%. Probably closer to 25, really. So, final mission here. has a couple of interesting strats. The first thing, you saw me let that guard throw a grenade. The reason I let him throw is there are 2 guards at the bottom here, and one can sometimes get caught in a grenade. It looks like he did. I didn't hear him get hit, but that's a nice bit of that saves a couple of seconds. But again, you can't depend on it. Now we're gonna have the silo elevator skip, where I'm gonna run into the elevator as the door is shutting. I'm gonna roll out at in almost the same motion, like that. So rather than deal with this whole cutscene of this nuclear missile launching, we're just gonna go on ahead, and this saves about 15 seconds.
Gabe, I'm intercepting frantic calls from NATO command.
Alright, so there are 2 scientists up ahead. One has a key card, and they're going to be running around, in circles, so I'm going to try and take them out. So that scientist does not have it. Okay, he had it, got it. There's a guard with a biz who will be coming up behind me. We call him Bizkill because he's very dangerous, because he's usually pretty aggressive. That time he was absent, which is nice. So I'm just gonna take out these guards here. I have to get gas grenades to take out Romer, because it's the only weapon that will actually hurt him in the final fight. So I'm gonna throw the grenade in a specific spot, so when this cutscene ends, he's gonna run right into the gas grenade path, and that's it. Game over.
Leon,
So time.
I'm triggering the missile's
Time is when the cutscene starts, and time. So 106.06. That's coupled with 2 deaths. That cost me about a minute and a half right there. Plus, I was pretty conservative in the blackout stage, so that was another 45 seconds or so, give or take.
No, I mean...
But overall, that's a
all-
very good representation, I feel, of Syphon Filter, which is a fast-paced game with a lot of moving parts and a lot of interesting little idiosyncrasies you have to consider. And but no, I think this would be a fine game to have at Games Done Quick, because it's a game that a lot of people remember, but they kind of forgotten about due to due to a history, I suppose. And certainly in the last few years, I think it has kind of caught back on, particularly with the PS5, PS4 and PS5 getting PS1 games, and Syphon Filter was one of the first titles. So I think there's a new appreciation for the title out there. So, yeah, so I hope you will accept Syphon Filter to AGDQ 2023. And again, this is Pro A007 doing a Syphon Filter any % speed run. Estimated time of completion 1 hour 10 minutes. I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you in January to demo this game to a much wider audience. Thank you.